Right now, there's a question sitting heavy in your chest. You feel it when she laughs a little longer, when her eyes hold yours half a second too much, and you don't know if it's real or just hope messing with your head. You've been here before, reading signs, overthinking texts, telling yourself not to get attached while already imagining what could happen. The uncertainty is exhausting. Not knowing where you stand slowly drains your confidence. What hurts isn't rejection, it's ambiguous. It's the silence between moments. It's wondering if you're desired or merely tolerated. Most men are never taught how attraction actually shows up. Not the polite signals, not the friendly smiles, but the deep biological signs a woman gives when she feels genuine sexual pull. So men guess, they chase, they misread it, and they lose their power in the process. This video isn't about tricks. It's about awareness. Because when you understand attraction, you stop forcing outcomes. You stop performing. You stop seeking validation. And something shifts. Your posture changes. Your voice settles. Your presence becomes heavier, calmer, grounded. When a woman is sexually attracted to you, her behavior follows patterns. Tonight, you're going to learn the difference between interest and attraction, between friendliness and desire, between fantasy and reality. Not so you can chase her, but so you can finally choose from a position of strength. Calm certainty replaces doubt, confusion, and noise. Sexual attraction is not logical, it's not polite, and it's rarely verbal. Most men think attraction is shown through compliments, fast replies, or obvious flirting. That's interesting. Not desire. Desire lives deeper. It shows up in instinctive behaviors a woman doesn't plan or control. Her body reacts before her mind gives permission. And that reaction follows psychological patterns that are universal. Here's the truth most men never hear. When a woman feels sexually attracted to you, she doesn't wonder what to do next. Her nervous system already knows, and her behavior starts aligning around one question: how close can I get without exposing myself? This is why men get confused, because attraction doesn't look loud, it looks inconsistent, it looks emotional, it looks risky. A woman who desires you often sends mixed signals on the surface, while her deeper behavior pulls her toward you again and again. Not because she's playing games, but because attraction creates vulnerability. And vulnerability feels dangerous. The core idea of this video is simple but powerful. Sexual attraction is revealed through loss of control, not effort. Through emotional leakage, not performance. Through tension, not comfort. When you understand this, everything changes. You stop chasing reassurance. You stop over-investing early. You stop trying to win her over. Instead, you observe. You slow down. You let her show you where she stands. This creates a different dynamic. You become grounded, centered, unreactive, and that alone increases attraction. Because women don't desire men who need clarity. They desire men who can sit calmly in uncertainty without collapsing into anxiety or ego. The signs you're about to learn are not tactics. They are indicators, signals that tell you when to lean in and when to lean back. This knowledge protects your dignity. It keeps your emotions intact, and it allows attraction to grow naturally, without pressure or force. Now, we move into the signs themselves. Each one reveals a layer of desire most men completely miss. Sign number 1. Her body moves before her words. Here's the bold truth most men overlook. When a woman is sexually attracted to you, her body betrays her before her mouth ever does. She might say she's just being friendly. She might downplay interest, but her body doesn't lie. Because attraction is processed in the nervous system first, not the intellect. Psychologically, sexual attraction triggers approach behaviors. The body leans in, feet point toward you, her torso opens instead of staying guarded. She finds reasons to be closer than necessary, not dramatic, subtle, almost accidental. She adjusts herself when you speak, fixes her hair without thinking, mirrors your posture without realizing it. These are unconscious alignment signals. Her system is syncing with yours. Here's a real-world example. A man sits across from a woman at a cafe. Conversation is casual, nothing flirtatious on the surface, but every time he leans back, she leans forward. When he pauses, she fills the space. When someone interrupts, her attention snaps back to him immediately. That's not politeness. That's the attraction pulling her focus. Now, here's where men usually fail. They notice the signs and rush. They talk more. They lean in harder. They try to lock it down, and the magic collapses. Here's what changes when you understand this sign. You slow down. You hold your posture. You don't chase the energy. You let it come to you. Your calm becomes magnetic. Your stillness creates tension. And her attraction deepens because she feels safe moving toward you without being consumed by you. A man who can read body language without reacting emotionally becomes powerful because he doesn't need confirmation. He already knows, and knowing changes everything. Sign number 2, she tests your emotional stability. Here's a bold reality few men are prepared to accept. When a woman feels sexual attraction, she doesn't move closer immediately. She tests the ground first. Attraction creates risk. And before a woman allows herself to desire a man deeply, her nervous system asks one question: is he emotionally safe, or will he collapse under pressure? Psychologically, this shows up as small, almost invisible tests. She might disagree with you, tease you lightly, delay a response, pull back after a moment of closeness, not to manipulate you, but to observe you. She's watching your reaction, not your words, your emotional regulation. Here's a real example. A woman opens up about something personal. The moment feels intimate. The next day, she's colder. Replies are shorter, less warmth. Most men panic. They double text. They over-explain. They try to restore the emotional high. But a grounded man doesn't chase the shift. He notices it and stays steady. And something powerful happens. Her attraction grows. Because emotional stability is erotic. A man who remains centered during emotional fluctuation signals strength. He signals leadership. He signals safety. Here's what changes when you understand this sign. You stop reacting to every mood. You don't punish her distance. You don't reward it with desperation either. You keep your tone consistent. Your pace is calm. Your presence unchanged. This creates polarity. She feels free to feel without managing your emotions. And freedom is the soil where desire grows. Men who fail this test never realize why attraction fades. Men who pass it never need to ask where they stand because she makes it clear in time. Sign number 3, she creates emotional tension instead of comfort. Here's a bold truth that cuts through confusion. When a woman is sexually attracted to you, she doesn't rush to make things easy. She creates tension. Comfort is friendship. Tension is desire. Psychologically, sexual attraction thrives in uncertainty, not chaos, not drama, but emotional charge, the kind that makes her slightly nervous around you, the kind that sharpens her awareness. She may go quiet at unexpected moments. Hold eye contact just a beat too long. Say something playful, then pull back. Not because she's unsure, but because she feels something she can't fully control yet. Here's a real-world example. You're walking with her after a good conversation. There's a pause. Silence stretches. She doesn't rush to fill it. Instead, she slows her steps. Look at you sideways, smiles, then looks away. Most men break the moment. They joke, they talk, they kill the tension because silence makes them uncomfortable. But silence is where attraction breathes. Here's what changes when you understand this sign. You stop trying to be endlessly entertaining. You allow space. You let moments linger. Your calm presence holds the tension instead of dissolving it. And that makes you feel unpredictable in a grounded way. A man who can sit comfortably in emotional tension signals confidence. He's not chasing approval. He's not afraid of stillness. He doesn't need to fill every gap with words. And to a woman, that feels powerful because desire needs room to expand. When tension exists, attraction has a place to grow. When comfort takes over too early, attraction fades quietly. Read this sign correctly, and you stop sabotaging moments that could change everything. Sign number 4, she becomes selectively vulnerable with you. Here's a bold insight most men miss. When a woman is sexually attracted to you, she doesn't open up to everyone. She opens up to you. Vulnerability is not random, it's selective. And psychologically, people reveal themselves only where they feel both drawn and safe. She may share stories she doesn't tell others, admit fears she usually hides, confess things that don't match her polished image, not because she wants advice, but because she wants to be seen by you. Here's a real-world example. She's confident in public, light, playful, but one evening she tells you about a past disappointment. Her voice softens, her energy slows. She watches your reaction carefully. This is not friendliness. This is trust layered with attraction. Most men ruin this moment by trying to fix her. They give solutions. They reassure me too much. They turn vulnerability into a problem to solve. But desire doesn't grow from fixing. It grows from presence. Here's what changes when you understand this sign. You listen without interrupting. You don't rush to make it better. You let her feel understood without being analyzed. Your calm acceptance becomes rare, and rare is attractive. A man who can hold emotional space without collapsing into emotion or control becomes deeply magnetic because he doesn't need her vulnerability to feel important. He simply witnesses it. That creates depth. And depth intensifies desire. She doesn't open up because she's weak. She opens up because she feels pulled toward you. And once a woman associates emotional safety with attraction, she feels closer to you even when you're not there. Sign number 5, she invests without asking for anything back. Here's a bold truth that separates illusion from reality. When a woman is sexually attracted to you, she gives without negotiating. Not favors, not obligations, energy. Psychologically, desire naturally moves a person toward investment. Time, attention, emotional effort. And when attraction is real, this investment happens instinctively, not strategically. She checks in without needing a reason. Remember the small details you mentioned once. Find subtle ways to stay connected, not to keep you interested, but because she already is. Here's a real-world example. You mention an upcoming challenge in your life. Days later, she asks how it went. No agenda. No follow-up request, just presence. Most men misunderstand this sign. They rush to match her effort. They overgive. They turn natural attraction into a transaction, and the balance breaks. Here's what changes when you understand this sign. You receive without guilt. You don't immediately reciprocate at the same level. You stay grounded in your own rhythm. This creates polarity, because desire grows when effort flows naturally, not when it's forced into equality. A man who allows a woman to invest without chasing her investment becomes emotionally centered. He doesn't need to earn attraction. He allows it to reveal itself. And that makes her feel chosen, not chased. When her energy moves toward you freely, it's not kindness. It's an attraction looking for a place to land. Sign number 6. She reacts emotionally to your absence. Here's a bold truth that most men never notice. When a woman is sexually attracted to you, your absence doesn't go unnoticed. It creates an emotional response. Don't panic. Not drama, but awareness. Psychologically, attraction creates attachment signals. When someone we desire is present, the nervous system relaxes. When they're gone, the system checks for loss. She might ask where you've been. Mention that you've been quiet lately. Bring up something old just to restart contact. Not accusing, not demanding, just reaching. Here's a real-world example. You pull back slightly, not as a tactic, but because you're genuinely busy. Days pass. She sends a message that has no real purpose. A meme, a random thought, a question she already knows the answer to. That's not boredom. That's an emotional pull. Most men misread this moment. They apologize for being absent. They over-explain. They rush back energetically. And they lose the tension. Here's what changes when you understand this sign. You don't justify your absence. You don't disappear either. You simply re-enter calmly. Your life remains full. Your center remains solid. And her attraction grows because she feels your presence as something earned, not guaranteed. A man whose absence is felt has weight. He doesn't cling. He doesn't vanish. He moves with intention, and intention is deeply attractive. When a woman reacts emotionally to your absence, it's because you've already become part of her emotional landscape. Sign number 7, her desire shows up in micro-jealousy. Here's a bold truth most men misinterpret or completely miss. When a woman is sexually attracted to you, she doesn't become possessive. She becomes alert. Psychologically, desire activates territorial awareness, not control, not drama, but sensitivity to perceived competition. She pays attention when other women enter your space. Her tone shifts slightly. Her curiosity sharpens. She asks casual questions that aren't actually casual, not to interrogate you, but to orient herself. Here's a real-world example. You mention a female colleague or a social interaction in passing. She smiles, nods, then later asks, "So, what's she like?" Her voice sounds neutral, but her attention is focused. That's not insecurity. That's the attraction checking its environment. Most men handle this moment poorly. They over-reassure, they downplay themselves, or they try to provoke more jealousy to feel powerful. All of that weakens attraction. Here's what changes when you understand this sign. You don't explain, you don't brag, you don't hide. You stay grounded and factual, calm, unbothered. This signals abundance without arrogance, security without apology. A man who doesn't react emotionally to microjealousy communicates strength. He doesn't seek validation through competition. He doesn't need to prove he's chosen. And that deepens her attraction, because desire wants a man who is steady under emotional pressure. When a woman subtly monitors her position in your world, it's because she wants a place in it. Not out of fear, but out of pull. Now take a step back and look at what you've actually learned. Not techniques, not strategies, but awareness. Because the moment you understand these signs, something inside you settles. You stop guessing. You stop forcing outcomes. You stop tying your self-worth to how quickly someone chooses you. And that's where real transformation begins. Most men live in reaction mode. They chase clarity, they chase reassurance, they chase emotional highs. And in doing so, they hand their power away without realizing it. But when you understand attraction, you move differently. You speak slower. You listen more. You act with intention instead of impulse. You stop trying to be impressive, and you become grounded. This doesn't just change how women respond to you, it changes how you experience yourself. You no longer feel anxious in silence. You no longer panic at distance. You no longer overanalyze every interaction. You trust your perception. You trust your presence. And that trust makes you calm. And calm is strength. When a woman feels sexually attracted to you, she doesn't need to be chased. She needs space to move. She needs emotional safety. She needs a man who doesn't collapse under uncertainty. And when you embody that, attraction flows naturally. You begin choosing instead of hoping. You walk away from mixed signals without bitterness. You lean in when the energy is mutual. You stop investing where there is no return. This creates alignment, not only in dating, but in life. Your boundaries become clear. Your standards rise quietly. Your confidence stops needing validation. You don't fear losing women anymore because you're no longer losing yourself. And that's the deepest shift of all. Because the man who understands attraction isn't trying to control outcomes. He's aligned with himself. And when you're aligned, people feel it. They respond to it. They are drawn to it. Not because you demanded attention, but because your presence invited it. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about removing the noise that keeps you from being steady, centered, and intentional. And once you experience that, you never go back. Here's the truth that stays long after the signs fade. Attraction is not something you demand. It's something you allow to reveal itself. When you stop chasing certainty, clarity arrives. When you stop forcing connection, chemistry breathes. When you stop trying to be chosen, you become a choice. Most men spend their lives asking, "Does she want me?" The stronger question is different. Am I grounded enough to see the truth and walk accordingly? Because attraction doesn't need interpretation when you're centered. It doesn't need decoding when you're calm. It shows itself clearly to a man who isn't emotionally begging for it. A woman's desire isn't proven by words. It's proven by her behavior when she thinks you're not watching, by how her energy shifts, by how her emotions respond, by how her presence leans toward yours again and again. And when you recognize that, you stop romanticizing potential. You stop settling for confusion. You stop staying where you're tolerated instead of desired. You don't become colder. You become clearer. You don't close your heart. You protect it. This is what quiet confidence looks like. Not dominance, not manipulation, but self-respect is expressed through restraint. A man who understands attraction doesn't rush intimacy. He doesn't cling to attention. He doesn't negotiate his worth. He stands where he is and let others meet him there. And if they don't, he walks on without resentment. That's the power most men are never taught. Not how to get women, but how to remain whole while connecting. Because the moment you stop chasing desire, you start attracting respect. And respect is the foundation attraction grows from. Every time. Carry this awareness quietly. Let it shape how you move, speak, and choose. Not loudly, not urgently, but deliberately. Because the strongest men don't need signs. They recognize energy, and they trust themselves enough to follow it.